Hello and welcome back. In this video, we'll be looking at introduction to data structures in Python. So basically, what are data structures? Data structures are nothing but a collection of data stored and maintained in a particular way that is convenient for our use. For example, we have already seen a glimpse of what a list is, right? So a list is an example of a data structure where all the data is stored in the form of a list which has a particular index through which we can access their values. So with this example, we'll be looking at many more about what data structures are and how to use them. And without further ado, let's get right into the video. So we were just discussing about what a list is, right? So we look at the coding aspect of this particular explanation. So basically a list, let's say my list is equal to, and yeah, so this is how you declare a list with two square brackets, one open and one closed, and inside this square bracket is where we give our values, right? So my list is equal to, and inside here I will differentiate this as 1 and 2, right? So my list 1 is an empty list and my list 2 is going to contain some values like 1 2 3 4 and 5, right? So this is a list and this is also a list, but this one does not contain any kind of values inside it. So this is an empty list and this is a list filled with values. Now what we're going to do is we are going to see how we are going to access the values inside this, right? So but my list 1 doesn't have any values, we don't have to look into the indexing of that part, but my list 2 has values. For example, if I need to reference this 2, right? So 2 is in what position inside the list is something that we need to understand, right? So this is the first position and this is the second position. But in computer science or any programming language, right, the concept of indexing starts from 0, it doesn't start from 1. So the position of this value 1 is not 1 but it is 0, right? So it starts with 0 and the value 2 is in the position number 1 and the value 3 is in the position number 2, right? So this is 0 1 2 3 and 4. So 0 to 4 there are 5 values, and now I am going to reference, as we recall, the value, the position of the value 2 is 1, right? So print my list 2, right? The same symbol that we are going to be using to declare, we are going to be using it here, and inside, as you can see, it expects an index, right? So what index are we going to give? We are going to give 1, 0 and 1. Now the value that we should be getting is 2. I will save this and I will run. Let's see what output we get. We get the output as 2, right? So as we can analyze now, if I give the value as, let's say, 3, right? So this is 0, this is 1 and this is 3. This is 2 and this is 3. Like the value 4 is there in the third position, and I will run this and yes, we have the value as 4. So this is how the indexing in lists work, right? So we'll move on to the next important data structure, which is the tuple, right? So I will give the heading here as tuple, and this is list, right? So tuple is nothing but a collection of values just like a list, but in lists we can add values, we can destroy some of the values that are already there inside, and we can reference using the indexes. But tuple is not like that. A tuple is a list that has been condensed into one single unit, right? A list is a group of units and a tuple contains a group of units, but as a whole it is treated as one, right? So my tuple will be, and instead of the square brackets we'll be giving the curved brackets, right? So the values that we have here are 1 comma, let's say 1 comma 5, right? So one similarity that we have between list and tuple is that the way that we reference the values is very much similar, right? So if I'm going to, let's say, my tuple of, let's say, 1, right, I'm going to print that. Now we'll see what the output is. I will comment this so that there's only one output. I will save this, destroy the output, and run. Yes, so the referencing of the values is very similar to that of the list. So this is tuple, right? So one thing that we need to understand is I've given integers here, but you can give, that is very specific to Python, and you can give whatever kind of data type that you give, right? So my list is not an integer array, it is a list of all kinds of things that you can put inside. For example, after 5 I can give hello, right? So that is not an error, and let me reference that. So I will uncomment this, and 0 1 2 3 4 and 5, so we're in the 5th position, and what we're supposed to get is hello. I'll comment this instead. I will save, clear the output, and run. As you can see, I get the output as hello, right? So Python is very flexible that way. So if you want to store lots of data and you don't know how to store it, how to retrieve it, data structures will come to the rescue, right? So if you have a list, you'll have all the numbers, all the strings, or whatever you want, you can just store it in the list and index that particular number, you'll get it, right? And one more important data structure that you might be using is the dictionary, right? So the dictionary is nothing but a collection of key value pairs, right? For example, let us initiate a dictionary called student, right? And we have the key as name and the value is Vidyadharan, right? So that's my name, and let's say roll number and roll number. So these are variable key names and they must be written in a certain way. Yeah, so roll number is 24, and let's say, and there should be a comma between every value, and let's say marks, that has a value of 80. Yeah, so yeah, that's it. Our dictionary is done. And how do we reference these values is very similar to what we do to lists, but instead of index we give the key, right? So student of name, so, and we do not give square brackets, we give the curly braces. So I'll print this, save, and there seems to be an error. So in dictionaries, when you're referencing, you use the brackets and not the curly braces. So student of name is what we want. So we will save and we will run this. Okay, sorry, my bad. So the kind of brackets that we are supposed to use is just the same as for list. So student square brackets of inside the square brackets you give the value, I mean the key, and you get the value, right? So I'll print this and I get my name, right? So inside this bracket, if I change it to roll number, right, so I should be getting 24. Let's check that, and yes, I am getting 24. So these are three basic data structures that we use on a very regular basis in the further videos. So hope you understood and enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll meet you in the next one.